Okay, so have you ever like wondered if someone's totally crushing on you, but they're not exactly like shouting it from the rooftops? You know what I mean? Like it's more than just friendly vibes.
Right.
It's like you feel a spark.
Yeah. Yeah.
So today we're going to be your decoders of attraction. We're doing a deep dive into this super interesting video all about like the subtle psychology of how women show they're attracted.
Yeah.
So get ready, because I think after this, you're going to be like leveling up your relationship game.
I love these kinds of deep dives because they really show how much we're wired for connection.
Yeah.
Like even on a subconscious level, it goes way back, like primal instincts, survival of the fittest, all of that.
Wow.
So like all those little unspoken signs that we're going to be talking about today, they're not just random. They're like deeply rooted in our biology and how we've evolved.
That is so cool. Okay,
Well-
so forget about all those big romantic gestures and those cheesy rom-com cliches.
Yeah.
We're talking about the stuff that flies under the radar. The stuff that's easy to miss if you're not paying attention.
Exactly.
Right.
So let's start with something you might not expect. Okay. Lips.
Lips?
Lips! Yeah, the video actually talks about how a woman who's interested in you might find herself just like fixated on your lips when you're talking.
Wait, are you serious? So it's not just a movie thing, you know, like that slow motion zoom in right before the kiss?
Well, I mean, real life is usually a little less dramatic than the movies.
Right.
But think about it, like lips are super expressive, right?
Yeah.
So subconsciously, she might be drawn to them like picturing a deeper level of closeness with you. It's almost like her brain's running a simulation,
Yeah.
Like, could I picture myself kissing those lips?
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Okay, so what should we look for? Should we be checking for lingering glances, or like does her gaze keep like snapping back to our mouths?
You got it. Yeah, and pay attention to the context too, right? If she's leaning in, maybe tilting her head or even brushing her hair back, just to maintain that eye contact while she's focused on your lips. Uh-huh.
That dials up the intensity of that signal.
Yeah.
She's engaged, she's present, and like her body language is screaming volumes.
Okay. I'm definitely going to be people watching and looking at how they watch lips from now on.
Please do.
That is so cool. Okay, so what about like those accidental touches? You know what I mean? Like you're near someone and it's like, oops, did we just kind of touch? Or someone who always seems to end up sitting next to you.
Right.
Like, has that ever happened to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. This is what we're calling the proximity play.
Okay.
And it's not magic, it's attraction in action.
Mm-hmm.
So if she's into you, she's gonna want to be near you.
Right.
And it might be subtle, like just a brush of the shoulders,
Yeah.
or like knees touching if you're both sitting down.
Right.
These little micro invasions of personal space are her way of testing the waters,
Mhm.
seeing how comfortable you are with her being close.
So it's like this unspoken question. Is this okay? Can I get closer?
Totally.
And speaking of getting closer, what about actual touch?
And I don't mean like a full-on hug, but like those oops, I just grazed your arm moments.
Right. Well, touch is powerful. Even just fleeting contact can trigger all these feel-good hormones.
Yeah.
Especially oxytocin,
Okay.
which is the one linked to like bonding and trust.
Right.
So, a light brush of the arm during a conversation, maybe she's like adjusting your shirt collar, seems innocent, right? But it's a low-risk way to create a connection and see how you react.
So there's actual science behind all these little touches.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Our brains are wired to respond to touch.
Wow.
Did you know that even like a quick touch on the arm can actually increase feelings of trust and cooperation?
Wow. I had no idea.
It's a subconscious way to build a connection.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask you this. What about fixing someone's tie? That seems pretty intimate, right?
Yeah.
Is that a sign, or am I reading too much into things?
I mean, you're definitely onto something there. Fixing someone's tie or their shirt, it's more deliberate, And it often involves getting into their personal space. So it can be both helpful but also flirtatious.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these little actions that we might not think much of can actually reveal a lot about how someone feels about us.
Yes.
This is like learning a secret language.
I know, right? It's so cool.
Okay, what about smiles? We all smile, right?
Right.
But how can we tell the difference between a smile that's genuine attraction and one that's just being polite?
That's a great question. There's a huge difference between a social smile and a genuine I'm attracted to you smile.
Okay.
The key is in the eyes.
The eyes.
A real smile goes all the way to the eyes.
Okay.
You know, you get those little crinkles at the corners.
Oh, yeah.
Those are called Duchenne markers.
Interesting.
And it's super hard to fake that kind of warmth and expressiveness.
So we're looking for a smile that lights up their whole face, not just their mouth.
Yes,
It's about feeling that warmth and connection, not just seeing a polite grin.
you got it. And this actually relates to this fascinating thing called mirror neurons.
Mirror neurons.
These neurons fire in our brains when we see someone else feeling an emotion.
Okay.
And it actually makes us feel it too. So a genuine smile, you know?
Yeah.
It triggers that sense of shared joy and connection. It's like an instant mood booster.
That makes so much sense. It's like when someone's laughter is so contagious, you can't help but laugh along with them.
Exactly.
Okay, this is all so fascinating, but let's be real for a second. A lot of our interactions these days happen online.
Oh, yeah.
So how does attraction actually play out in the digital world?
That's a good point. You know, texting and social media are major players in this game of attraction.
Awesome.
And it all comes down to attentional investment.
What's that?
It means like we put our time and energy into the things that are important to us.
Right.
So if someone's constantly texting you back, liking your posts, sending you random messages,
Yeah.
that's a sign they're thinking about you.
Oh.
They're showing you that you're a priority, even in the digital space.
Okay.
Remember those late night, Harry's still up texts? Those are almost never just casual check-ins.
Right.
There's usually a deeper meaning behind them. Like they want to connect with you, even when there's no specific reason to.
Okay. I am definitely feeling more confident in my ability to decode late night texts now.
Good.
What about those bolder moves online?
Yeah.
The video mentioned suggestive photos or videos.
Right.
What's the message behind something like that?
Well, that's a big one.
Yeah.
And it definitely like ramps up the intensity.
Yeah.
It shows a level of comfort and a desire to maybe take things to the next level. It shows that they're not just physically attracted to you, but they also feel comfortable enough with you to express that attraction in a more intimate way.
That makes sense.
But it's crucial to make sure that you're both on the same page with this kind of thing.
Of course.
You know, clear communication is key.
Absolutely. Consent and mutual understanding are
Yeah.
so important.
Yes.
And we want to empower you with information.
Of course.
But how you use it is ultimately up to you.
Right.
So we talked about one-on-one interactions.
Mhm.
But what about when you're in a group setting?
Okay.
Does someone's behavior change when they're attracted to you, even if you're surrounded by other people?
Oh, that's where things get really interesting. So a woman who's attracted to you might like subconsciously amplify her energy when you're around other people.
Really?
She might laugh a little louder at your jokes or position herself near you or actively try to involve you in conversations.
Okay, so it's like they're trying to stand out and make sure you notice them, even though there are other people around.
Exactly. And it can also be like a subtle way to signal her interest to other people in the group, almost like marking her territory.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow, this is like a whole new level of social strategy. It's amazing how much we communicate without even realizing it.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the more we understand these cues, the better we can navigate all our social interactions, you know,
Yeah,
with more confidence and awareness.
absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so we've covered body language cues, the power of touch, and even how attraction shows up online. But I'm curious about something else. The video mentioned how the kinds of compliments someone gives you can actually reveal a lot about how interested they are.
Yes.
What should we be listening for?
Pay attention to the substance of the compliment, you know.
Okay.
Are they only focused on how you look,
Ah,
or do they go deeper than that? Someone who's truly interested in you will notice and appreciate the things that make you unique, like your sense of humor, your intelligence, your kindness.
so it's the difference between you look great today and you have such a sharp wit. I love how your mind works.
Exactly. One is just a surface level observation, and the other shows that they're actually paying attention to who you are as a person.
Right. One is fleeting and the other shows real effort.
Yes, exactly. Those deeper compliments are like little gifts.
Okay.
They show genuine interest in getting to know you on a more meaningful level.
Yeah.
It's not just about being physically attracted to you, it's about appreciating the whole package.
Oh, that is so insightful.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, I see you and I like what I see.
Yes.
All of it. This is making me rethink every compliment I've ever gotten in my life.
It's all about recognizing those little hints
Yeah.
and appreciating the effort someone puts into making you feel seen and valued. It's a powerful indicator of their true feelings.
This is such good advice.
Mm.
It's making me realize that attraction is about so much more than just like that initial physical chemistry.
Right.
It's about those small moments, the unspoken connections, the way we make each other feel.
Absolutely. It's about those moments of like genuine connection and shared joy.
Yeah.
The laughter, the deep conversations, the feeling of truly being understood.
Yeah.
Those are the things that build lasting bonds.
Okay, before we move on, I have to bring this up because it's always puzzled me. Flirting?
Okay.
Some people are naturally flirtatious.
Right.
So how can we know if it's genuine attraction or just their personality?
That's a great question. And that's where paying attention to the context is so important.
Right.
You know, is their flirting consistent with other signs of attraction? Do they only flirt with you, or are they flirting with everyone?
So it's about looking for a pattern, not just a one-off instance.
Exactly. You're like a detective, you know, gathering clues and seeing if they all point in the same direction.
I like that.
And trust your gut, too.
Okay.
If something feels off or inconsistent, it probably is.
This is like learning a whole new language of love.
Right.
I feel like I'm starting to be able to decode all these subtle signals.
That's great.
We've talked about lips and touch and digital cues and compliments.
Yes.
What other body language secrets should we be aware of?
Okay, well, think about how someone positions themselves when you're talking.
Okay.
Do they lean in? Do they mirror your movements?
Yeah.
Do they like subconsciously align their body with yours?
Interesting.
These are really strong signs of rapport and connection.
You know, I have noticed that before. It's like your bodies are in sync even if you're not consciously aware of it.
It's so cool, right?
Yeah.
Our bodies naturally move towards what we find attractive. It's like a magnetic pull drawing you closer to the person you're interested in.
Okay. I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to body alignment from now on.
Good.
What about fidgeting?
Oh?
Is that a good sign or a bad sign? I've always wondered about that.
Fidgeting can actually be a sign of nervous energy,
Oh.
which often goes hand in hand with attraction.
Right.
It could be playing with their hair or touching their face or adjusting their clothing.
Oh, so it's not necessarily a sign that they're bored or not interested?
Right.
It could mean they're a little flustered because they like you.
Exactly. It's their body's way of releasing that nervous energy.
Well,
And it can be a subtle clue that they're feeling something more than friendship.
this is such a game changer. It's like all those little quirks and gestures we try to suppress are actually giving us away.
Totally.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
But I want to touch on something that I think is really important, effort. How do we know if someone's truly making an effort to connect with us,
Yes.
beyond just saying the right words?
Yeah. Effort speaks volumes. Does she go out of her way to talk to you? Does she remember little details about you? Does she make time for you even when she's busy?
So it's about those small gestures that show you're a priority, not just an afterthought.
Exactly. It's about actively trying to create those shared moments, putting in the effort to build that connection. Those actions say so much more than words ever could.
I love the actions over words.
Yeah.
It's not about those grand romantic gestures. It's about making that everyday effort to show someone that they matter to you.
You got it.
Right.
And you know, on that note, I think it's important to talk about something that people often overlook, how someone makes you feel.
Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like we get so caught up in analyzing all the signs and behaviors
Yeah.
that we forget to just tune in to our own intuition.
Exactly. Pay attention to how you feel when you're around this person. Do they make you feel seen, heard, appreciated? Do you feel good about yourself when you're with them?
Yeah, those are such powerful questions. I think sometimes we get so focused on trying to figure out if someone likes us that we forget to ask if we genuinely like being around them.
That's so important. Attraction is a two-way street.
Right.
It's about finding someone who not only lights your fire, but also makes you feel safe, comfortable, happy to be yourself.
This is making me realize that attraction is about so much more than just checking off a list of signs.
Right.
It's about finding someone who brings out the best in you and makes you feel like the best version of yourself.
You're totally right. It's about that spark, that connection, that feeling of being truly seen and understood. And when you find that it's truly special.
Okay, this has been mind-blowing. I feel like I've learned so much about the hidden language of attraction.
Good.
But I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear your final takeaways and advice.
Well, you know, as fascinating as all these signs are, it's important to remember that everyone is different.
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all formula for figuring out if someone's attracted to you.
So what's the best way to approach this? How do
Yeah.
we use this knowledge without overthinking it? You know, without getting lost in analysis paralysis?
Okay, so trust your instincts.
Okay.
You're smarter than you think.
Mm.
Pay attention to those subtle cues.
Yeah.
But don't get too hung up on any single sign. It's about the overall pattern of behavior,
Right.
the consistency of their actions, and how they make you feel.
That makes sense. It's about seeing the whole picture,
Exactly.
not just focusing on one little brush of the arm or something like that.
And remember, clear communication is always your best bet.
Communication.
If you're not sure about someone's intentions, just ask.
That's such a good reminder. Sometimes the simplest approach is the best.
Yes.
So instead of trying to be a mind reader,
Yeah,
we should just be open and honest about our feelings and what we're looking for.
absolutely. Communication is the foundation of any healthy relationship,
Yes.
whether it's romantic or platonic.
Okay, I'm feeling way more equipped to navigate this whole world of attraction now. This has been amazing.
It's been my pleasure.
Really, this deep dive has been incredible.
It's been great exploring this topic with you.
Yeah.
Remember, attraction is this complex and beautiful dance. And the more we understand the subtle cues, the more we can appreciate the magic of human connection.
That is so well said.
Yeah.
So to recap, we've learned that attraction is multifaceted.
Yes.
It's not just about looks.
Right.
It's about those deeper connections.
Yeah.
The body language,
Yeah.
the complements the effort,
Yes.
and most importantly, how someone makes you feel.
Absolutely. And remember, these are just clues, not guarantees.
Right.
Everyone expresses attraction differently, and there's no foolproof formula.
Right.
So the best advice I can give you is to trust your instincts,
Okay.
communicate openly,
Uh-huh.
and most importantly, enjoy the journey.
Such great advice. We've given you the tools.
Yeah.
Now it's up to you to use them wisely.
Yes.
Pay attention.
Yes.
Trust your gut and don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
Exactly.
Who knows what amazing connections you might discover.
What's one sign from this episode that really stood out to you? Maybe something you've noticed in your own interactions or something you're going to start paying more attention to from now on. Hold on to that insight and see where it leads you.
And as always, we want to hear from you. Head over to our social media and share your thoughts, your observations, and your burning questions. Who knows, maybe your insights will inspire our next deep dive. Until then, happy decoding.
It's like having a secret decoder ring for like all these social dynamics.
I love it. Okay, so we've talked about body language cues, the power of touch, even how attraction plays out online.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about something. The video mentions how the types of compliments someone gives can reveal a lot about their interest level.
Right.
So, like, what should we be listening for?
Pay attention to what the compliments are about.
Okay,
Are they only focused on your looks or they go a little deeper? You know,
okay.
someone who's really interested in you is gonna notice and appreciate all those things that make you unique, like
Mhm.
your sense of humor, your intelligence, your kindness.
So it's the difference between you look great today versus you have such a sharp wit. I love how your mind works.
Exactly. One is just like a quick observation.
Right.
And the other shows that they're actually paying attention to who you are as a person.
Right. One's kind of fleeting and the other one shows effort.
Exactly. Those deeper compliments are like little gifts.
Oh.
They show that they're genuinely interested in getting to know you better
Yeah?
on a more meaningful level.
Okay.
It's not just about being physically attracted to you, it's about appreciating everything about you.
That is so insightful. It's
Yeah.
like they're saying, I see you and I like what I see. All of it.
Exactly.
This is seriously making me rethink all the compliments I've ever gotten.
Well, it's all about recognizing those little hints and
Yeah.
appreciating the effort someone puts into making you feel seen and valued.
Mm.
That's a huge indicator of their true feeling.
This is so helpful. It's making me realize that attraction is about so much more than just that initial physical spark.
Right.
It's about all those little things.
Yeah,
You know? The unspoken connections, the way we make each other feel.
totally.
Hmm.
It's about those moments of genuine connection and shared joy.
Uh-huh.
The laughter, the deep conversations, that feeling of being completely understood.
Yeah.
Those are the things that build a strong bond.
Okay, before we move on from this,
Uh-huh.
I have to ask about something that's always kind of confused me.
Okay, what's that?
Flirting.
Okay.
Some people are just naturally flirtatious.
Right.
So how do we know if it's actual attraction or if that's just part of their personality?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And that's where paying attention to the context is super important.
Okay.
Does their flirting line up with other signs of attraction?
Mm-hmm.
Do they only flirt with you, or are they flirting with everybody?
So it's about looking for a pattern, not just a one-time thing.
Exactly. You're like a detective,
Okay.
gathering all these clues and seeing if they point in the same direction.
Right.
And always trust your gut.
Yeah.
If something feels off or doesn't add up,
Okay.
it probably isn't what you're hoping for.
This is seriously like learning a whole new language of love.
I know, it's fascinating, right?
Yeah, I feel like I can actually start to decode all these subtle signals now.
That's great.
Okay, so we've talked about lips and touch and online stuff and compliments.
Right.
What other body language things should we be looking out for?
Think about how they position themselves when you're talking to them.
Okay.
Do they lean in? Do they kind of mirror your movements? Do they like subconsciously align their body with yours?
Interesting.
Those are all really strong signs of a connection.
You know, I've actually noticed that before. It's like
Yeah.
your bodies are totally in sync without even realizing it.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Our bodies naturally gravitate towards what we're attracted to. It's like there's a magnet pulling you closer to them.
Okay, I'm definitely going to be way more aware of body alignment now.
Good.
Okay, what about fidgeting?
Okay.
Is that a good sign or a bad sign? I've always wondered.
Fidgeting can sometimes be a sign of nervous energy.
Oh.
And, nervous energy can often go hand in hand with attraction. Right.
Maybe they're playing with their hair or touching their face or adjusting their clothing.
So it doesn't necessarily mean they're bored or not interested.
Right.
It could mean that they're kind of flustered because they like you.
Exactly. It's their body's way of releasing that nervous energy.
Yeah.
And it can be a subtle hint that they're feeling something more than just friendship.
This is seriously a game changer. It's like all those little quirks and things we try to hide are actually giving us away.
Totally.
Okay, we've covered a lot. But I want to talk about something I think is super important.
Okay.
Effort. Effort?
Yes.
How do we know if someone's really putting in the effort to connect with us?
Right.
Beyond just saying all the right things.
Yeah, effort speaks volumes. Does she go out of her way to talk to you? Does she remember little things about you? Does she make time for you even when she's busy?
It's like those little things that show you're a priority in their life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about actively creating those special moments and putting in the work to nurture that connection. Actions speak louder than words. I love that actions over words. It's not about those big romantic gestures. It's about those everyday efforts to show someone they're important to you.
Exactly. And, on that note, I think it's important to think about something that often gets overlooked, how someone makes you feel.
Oh, that's a good one. I think we get so caught up analyzing all the signs and behaviors that we forget to just listen to our own intuition.
Exactly. Pay attention to how you feel when you're around them. Do they make you feel seen and heard and appreciated? Do you feel good about yourself when you're with them?
Those are really good questions.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we're so busy trying to figure out if someone likes us
Yeah.
that we forget to ask ourselves if we actually enjoy being around them.
That's so important. Attraction is a two-way street.
Right.
It's about finding someone who not only makes you feel excited, but also makes you feel safe and comfortable and happy being yourself.
This is making me realize that attraction is about so much more than just checking things off a list.
Yeah.
It's about finding someone who brings out the best in you and makes you feel like the best version of yourself.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. It's about that spark, that connection, that feeling of truly being seen and understood.
Yeah.
And when you find that it's truly special.
Okay, this has been mind-blowing.
Uh,
I feel like I've learned so much about this whole hidden language of attraction,
I'm glad.
but I'm sure our listeners are dying to hear your final takeaways, advice.
Well, as interesting as all these signs are, it's important to remember that everybody's different.
Right.
There's no magic formula for figuring out if someone's attracted to you.
So what's the best way to go about this? Like, how do we use all this knowledge without overthinking everything?
It's like having all these clues, but we got to figure out how to actually put them together.
Right, like we need to see the bigger picture.
Exactly. So the best advice I can give is trust your gut.
Okay.
You're probably a lot better at reading people than you think. Pay attention to all those little signs.
Yeah.
But don't get hung up on just one thing.
Right.
It's about looking at their behavior overall. Like how consistent they are with their actions, and most importantly, how they make you feel.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like not getting tunnel vision on just one little detail.
Exactly. And you know what else? Clear communication is always the best way to go.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not really sure about someone's intentions, don't be afraid to just ask them.
That's such a good reminder. Like sometimes the simplest approach is the best one.
Totally.
So instead of trying to read their mind,
Yeah.
we should just be upfront about how we feel and what we want.
Yes, absolutely. Communication is like the foundation of any healthy relationship,
Right.
whether it's romantic or just platonic.
Okay. I'm feeling so much more confident about navigating this whole world of attraction now. This
Yeah.
deep dive has been incredible.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's been my pleasure.
Seriously, this was amazing.
It was great talking about all of this with you. And, attraction really is this complex and beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And the more we learn about all these little cues, the more we can really appreciate those magical moments of connection.
That is so well said. So to recap, we've learned that attraction is way more than just surface level.
Yeah.
It's not just about looks, it's about all those deeper connections.
Right.
The body language, the compliments of the effort,
Yeah.
and most importantly, how they make you feel.
Exactly. And remember, these are just clues. They're not guarantees.
Right.
Everybody expresses attraction in their own way. There's no one-size-fits-all formula here.
So what's your best advice for our listeners?
I would say trust your gut.
Okay.
Be open with your communication,
Uh-huh.
and most importantly, have fun with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we've given you all the tools.
We have.
Now it's up to you to go out there and use them.
Yes.
Be observant.
Be observant.
Trust your instincts and don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
Exactly.
You never know what amazing connections are waiting for you.
I'm so excited for everyone to put this into practice.
Me too. What's one thing from today's deep dive that really stood out to you? Something you've maybe noticed yourself or something you're going to start paying more attention to now. Hold on to that and see where it takes you. And as always, we love hearing from you. Head over to our social media and tell us what you think. We want to hear your observations, your questions, everything. Who knows? Maybe your ideas will inspire our next deep dive. Until then, happy decoding.